The station is interrupted, sowing the fat with Buffalo Bill to bring you this important broadcast.
We're on the air, stupid!
Welcome to another episode of Your Final Answer. Today's question, who is Buzzkill? And why should we care? Here to answer that question is the Crossline's #1 horror host of the Scary Fun Show, Buzzkill.
Hello, all you idiot box junkies out there. I see you.
Mr. Buzzkill, how have you explained your sudden rise in popularity despite your show's history of abysmal ratings?
Well, Cream Weeper, I think it's all got to do with location, and maybe some secondhand magic scribble that keeps my show playing around the clock on every TV in the Crosslands.
Here I thought I misprogrammed my VCR. When can I expect to get my Green Acres back?
What the fuck is Green Acres?
It's time to take some calls.
Well, hey, Grim Reaper, where's that talking banana that's on your show? He's hilarious.
Hey, I'm no second banana here. I'm funny too. What did the cross-dressing vampire say to the woman with no legs?
I'll call back when there's a banana.
Ungrateful son of a... Keep it going. Yes, Carl.
I see you got one of them spiffy tubes with the clown face, and I want to know how do you turn it off? I can't take any more of this guy's ugly mug!
Wow, they sound really steamed. How do you respond to that?
You ungrateful fuckwits with no entertainment. If it bit you over a barrel of drunk monkeys with power tools. Seems you folks out there in the Crosslands need a little more persuading to accept me for the horror superstar I really am. And I've got just the express ticket to get me there, lickety-split.
Can't watch much more of this. It's not scary, it's just shit. Paper mache and painted laser rays, dumbass monsters made of clay. If you want to scream, come scream with me. Scream, soup, scream, soup. If you want to scream, come scream with me. Scream, soup, screaming soup. What the hell is this supposed to be? Action, romance, or sci-fi comedy? I just don't have fucking time for this shit. Bring on the blood and show me the tits. If you wanna scream, come scream with me. Scream, soup, screaming soup. If you wanna scream, come scream with me.
And boy, was it more like a babadookie.
So that's the rodeo clown you're out to get?
Oh, he's so horrible to look at. And that voice.
Yes, ma'am. That kiss reject is the whole reason I'm here asking for your help.
Now, I hung on my pistols for hire a long time ago. You understand.
Well, that's fine, Jesse. I really just need Mariah.
Ooh, me?
Come again now?
Mariah, I hear you're Dr. Frankenstein's daughter and every bit the genius he was.
Granddaughter. Dr. Victor Frankenstein was my grandfather.
So you're really Frankenstein's granddaughter?
My father was Victor's son. So I'm technically a daughter of Frankenstein, but specifically Victor's granddaughter.
Enough of that family tree jibber jabber. My wife don't do those kind of experiments anymore. She's gone the straight and narrow of being a pediatrician. Haven't you, honey?
It's so rewarding working with the children, but I do still feel the urge sometimes to scoop out brains whenever I look inside their gooey little ear canals. Oh, can we help you?
Well, howdy there, Screen Freaks. Looks like you caught up with me. I'm still hard at work gathering who I can for helping me go to war with Buzzkill and his monster misfits, which is why I'm here at the Voodoo Coop hoping to persuade Miss Mariah Frankenstein over to my cause.
She ain't interested.
Jesse, surely we can find it in our hearts to help these two with their dilemma.
It's really more his fight than mine. One I can't seem to talk him out of, no matter how much of a strain it puts on our relationship.
Are we still fighting about this? I said I'm sorry, but this means a lot to me, woman. Stand behind me and support already.
It would be a lot easier if you didn't act like you care more about that table than me.
I appreciate you folks thinking of us, but
I'd be to help. I could show you some excitement lately.
I need to talk to you in private if I may. Excuse us.
This is going well. I wonder how she ended up married to the infamous Jesse James.
I actually saw the movie based on them before we came over here. What do you Screen Freaks say we use that for tonight's review?
Can't you just tell me the story?
Nah, colorful below the belt review is way more fun to tell. Saddle up for a blast from the past genre mashup as we ride into a raging monster shootout called Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. Or granddaughter. As you might have guessed, the meat of the story takes place in the Old West, but if the cliche of cowboys and Indian shootouts and women doing what their man tells them to isn't up your alley, then how about we spice up this genre with some of horror's iconic cliches? Our anti-hero is a legendary outlaw Jesse James who's still outrunning the law after his falsely reported death in 1882, and he's picking up jobs wherever he can get them with the help of a loyal brute named Hank. They team up with the remaining members of the Wild Bunch for a stagecoach robbery, but shit hits the fan when one of the Wild Bunch's own decides to betray them for the reward in Jesse's head. After the Wild Bunch are slaughtered in the way less exciting way compared to the Sam Peckinpah vision 3 years later, Jesse races to rescue a wounded Hank and is taken to an abandoned village by a Mexican midget named Juanita. She warns Jesse the villagers left because two evil German siblings had settled up on the hill there and were conducting experiments that happened to coincide with the disappearance of several children. She then wraps this ghost town tale up by telling Jesse it's these suspicious doctors who can help Hank. Gee, thanks. You convinced me these doctors are probably sadistic child murderers and then sent me on my merry way to ask them for help. But desperate men do desperate things and Jesse takes his chances, never realizing his hosts were Frankenstein's descendants carrying out the age-old family tradition of reanimation. I guess her grandfather never kept journals of everything that went wrong with his monster because Mariah Frankenstein is hell-bent on using the prairie electrical storms for creating her own monster with an artificial brain, an undead child servant who will obey her every command. She's unknowingly foiled by her reluctant brother, however, whose morals permit the death of innocent children, but won't stand for their unnatural revivals. Well, go figure that one out. Deciding the children must be too weak for the experiment, Mariah quickly offers to help Hank so she can exploit his strength for a successful experiment and hopes to seduce Jesse for his unrivaled guns. In 2 shakes of a rattlesnake's tail, Jesse catches on to Mariah's manipulation and quickly finds himself caught in the international love triangle with the law and a zombified Hank closing in for the kill. Tasting the sours of this film, the biggest flaw in this meeting of genre cliches has to be Jesse's strongman Hank. It's clear he's a pivotal part to the film, but you could really care less about him. He's the nice guy outlaw with a blind loyalty to Jesse, but he's incredibly flat and is more of a plot device than anything. Whether he's slowly dying from a gunshot or batting zero with the local midgets, we never care to invest in him as a character, especially not when he's transformed into Mariah's obedient manservant after switching out his brain with her artificial one. Oh, and that's something that doesn't make any sense either. Hank's brain has been replaced. I'm talking scooped out and tossed away into the garbage. All that's in that thick noggin of his is Mariah's homegrown science fair project, so how does he come to remember Juanita and Jesse as loyal friends and turn against Mariah in the end? This doesn't make any sense. Not unless he suggests something stupid like they could transplant his brain but not his heart, and then with this being Mariah's last artificial brain to experiment with, I wonder what her endgame was. Maybe another movie cliche like world domination? Hell, she already has the talent apparently, and that's before even completing the experiment. And she originally wanted a child to be her slave, so what good would that have been for her? Sweatshop worker? Watching the outhouse? Sexual favors? I don't know. At least Hank's or whatever's miserable existence ended before Mariah could get into all that. Well, nice fucking tombstone there. Hank was so flat, even his epitaph had nothing to say about him other than he was this famous guy's friend in the movie. Nothing else. Putrid polecats. You almost feel bad Jesse couldn't have had a better friend to kill. Wait, hold your horses! It was Juanita who stopped Hank after Hank stopped Mariah? So what the fuck did Jesse do? Just stand there? Oh, but at least we got to see Jesse take out deputies and Indians, you know, those things you don't normally find in a horror movie. What fucker decided to end the movie this way? Checking the pissing timer, this Old West horror punches a fat zero in the pissing clock, which is a surprise considering how lengthy dialogue was in some of these older cowboy pics, and you can rest easy because it doesn't even bother to attempt any bogus scares to make you jump.
Pardon our departure, but this is a sensitive matter, you understand.
Well, that's okay. I was just telling the Screen Freaks how Mariah's brilliance is too great to waste on the health of some punk-ass kids. You should let her embrace who she is and take up the Frankenstein mantle.
You're making this awkward, Dead West.
What? I'm just complimenting her as one of the greatest minds in the Crosslands that should have no problem figuring a way for me to get my table back at the Howl Inn.
Ugh. As you would say, putrid polecats. Excuse me now.
Hey, if you see Mariah, tell her to come back and join us.
What the hell do you think you're doing? I will not risk my lady slipping back into bad habits over the count of a handhill of peanuts you're throwing a piss over. I mean a damn table, honestly?
Well, don't you sass my table. At least I tell your woman about your married man adventures to the towel house where you frequently visit one especially limber Frankenhooker.
We were both seeing Frankenhooker for a regular menage a trois of sex and science.
Well, damn, that play was my whole upper hand.
How's everything over here?
Everything's fine, just fine.
Good, good. I'd hate to show customers the proper way to behave in a restaurant, especially when they bring me such good business.
Well, this must be a mistake. I didn't order all this.
No, but your party did. They said you'd be footing the bill.
He's picking up ours as well. You invited us after all.
Ah, fuck! I should have left them all in the parking lot.
There won't be a problem paying, will there? I don't think Papa Kaka has any more room on the deadbeat wall.
Oh, no, I got this.
That's mighty kind of you, partner. Seeing as we have no further business, this conversation is over.
Well, let's finish our review while I figure this out, Screen Freaks. Chewing on the sweets of this film is not exactly what you expect. Let's admit it, you only check this movie out because it had the word Frankenstein in the title, but it's used very loosely. First off, this movie runs with the whole argument of Frankenstein being the doctor, not the monster. You never see a Boris Karloff knockoff anywhere near this thing. It's just a couple of mad doctors with a Frankenstein name trying to raise the dead for total enslavement, using artificial brains and all those crazy-looking Tesla machines. Mariah is ruthless in her attempt to recreate her family's experiments, cutting up the local children for fodder, and even killing her brother when she discovered she's been poisoning the subjects to keep her from succeeding. The only other Frankenstein element that's brought into this mix-up misfire is Igor. No, not the typical grotesque assistant you expect, but this movie's version of the Frankenstein monster, which Mariah names Igor. Mariah must have read how annoyed her grandfather was to have to keep explaining to people the difference between Frankenstein the doctor versus Frankenstein the monster, and she just avoided all that by naming the monster, which is something Victor Frankenstein should have done the more I think about it. And if you're a horror fanatic who likes to connect the imaginary dots among the movies like I do, you can always imagine Mariah's inspiration behind the name could have come from her family's notes documenting Universal's The Ghost of Frankenstein, when the monster actually was Igor after he voluntarily transplanted his brain into the monster's body for power. It's a big stretch of the imagination, I know, but that's what we horror fans do. Looking to see how many kills there are, this flick shows us there's at least 8 ways to die in the Old West, but only one way to drop dead. And wouldn't you go figure, there ain't no boobs to be found anywhere in this. But fear not, I'm here for you. Billy! Let's nuke the ingredients of this film and see how it rates. Right amount, we got 3 out of 5. A tame film that keeps a steady pace, but fails to win the race with its heroic and horrific shortcomings. I'd recommend Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter to wholesome families that enjoy the Brady Bunch, anal retentive history buffs you want to annoy, and only the die-hard Frankenstein fans who can tolerate films like I, Frankenstein. But what do I know? I like Killer Tomato movies.
Where did Jesse go?
He took off with Mariah.
No, he didn't. Mariah's over there.
Can you get these for me or not?
Papa Kaka can get you anything you need from me, but you need no science mumbo-jumbo for controlling the dead.
Skip the lecture. Now remember, they must be strong and spry.
Maria!
Call me when you have them.
Is that the bill?
May as well be my death certificate.
Too bad we couldn't get some kind of celebrity discount since we're with Jesse James.
Mandy, I love you.
Ready, pale bones.
Take this to the chef, would you?
Sure thing.
Sorry, I was away for so long.
There you are, woman. I've been looking all over for you.
I'm still confused. You were killed by Hank and Jesse was arrested after you met?
I escaped custody outside of town and came back to see if there was anything I could do to help Hank.
He means Igor.
No, Hank.
It was Igor.
It's still a sore subject. Anyway, I couldn't help Hank.
Poor Igor.
But I found Maria still fighting for her life, nursed her back to health, which is when we got to know each other a little better. And well, I think you know the rest.
Jesse convinced me we should be busy living life than spitting in our maker's eye and creating life.
That's why we turned over a new leaf. I retired my trigger finger. Maria gave up family's legacy of death and torture. Ain't that right, hon?
Yes, my love. I no longer wish to be master of an army of mindless minions whose only will is to do my every bidding.
What's this?
The table with the cowboys wanted me to pass this to you.
Listen here. Outlaw Jesse James at our table. Only dead, big reward. It's for real?
It's for real, Papa Kaka. The man's head is worth $10,000.
What in the hell?
That money is as good as mine, mon ami.
What's happening here?
Nice meeting you. Hope you can find it yourself and come help me. Hey, boy, yeah, ugly.
They pale bones. They didn't pay Papa.
Forget that mortal bitch. This one here is worth my fortune.
I need to run, Screen Freaks, but I'll see you later.
If you want to scream, come scream with me. Screaming Soup. It's the Screaming Soup.
Well, howdy there, Scream Freaks. Well, thank you kindly for watching, and help yourself to more servings of Screaming Soup by visiting our site at screamingsoup.com. You can read our weekly updates, character bios, and interviews, catch up on past episodes, browse our store, and drool over the Howlin' Hottie of the Week. If you want to scream at us, just holler at screamingsoup@gmail.com, and don't forget to stalk us through social media, conveniently linked at the top of the site.